further questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know that was the, following up on Commissioner Dominguez, that was a requirement on, I think, the last massage therapy business that we passed. Is that, I don't see that in the conditions. Is that stated in there?
To have them curtained?
Yes.
Let me see.
I could have missed it, but I just didn't see it.
Mr. Chair, if I may, there was a condition included, condition number 29, that reemphasizes that the massage establishment, even if it wasn't specified as a called out condition, that they must comply with all of the operation standards in Chapter 5 of Article 6, which has all of those regulations spelled out.
Okay, so 29 is like all encompassing.
Exactly.
And that specifically addresses curtains?
Yes, so everything that is required in the ordinance that was just approved is something that we'll be inspecting for before they're allowed to open.
Maybe I'll restate the question, Crystal. Does the ordinance say curtains only, no solids, locked doors?
There was a requirement that they could not have locked doors whenever there is anybody in the facility. I don't believe that it had specified curtains as opposed to doors. I believe doors were allowed, the doors were not allowed to be locked during business hours.
That's different then, okay.
Yeah, I think that is different from our last business that we approved. I thought they had to be curtained. The entire, all rooms had to be curtained and no doors.
The use is a discretionary application. We can add a condition right now to spell out that, as proposed, the use would require that all of the massage areas are separated by curtains only. Doors will not be allowed, and then we'll go ahead and cement that into this approval if it is approved.
I have no further questions. Does anybody have? Okay. Yeah.
Last question, real quick. Is there any health requirement with this type of establishment, whether it be a health permit or anybody else who oversees massage parlors?
The Therapy Council, the CAMTC, inspects the sites along with their licenses.
It's an annual inspection?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the presentation. Okay, before I call the applicant and his or her representatives, this would be time for any planning commissioners to discuss any pre-hearing site visits, pre-hearing discussions the commissioners may have had about the project. Commissioner Spatos?
I actually went by last night. I think it was probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock, just to see it, because I pass by it all the time, but I'm not really familiar with the interior units. So I passed by, did a little drive-by in the parking lot.
Commissioner Dominguez?
I have nothing to report, sir.
And I have nothing. Will the applicant or his or her representative please come forward and give testimony and just state your name and address for the record?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roger Chan. This is my applicant. I'm her translate. And the person who applied the, help her to apply the application.
Okay, Roger.
My name is Lin.
And first of all, you guys were talked to about should on the room should be put on the door or curtains. It's a curtains. It's not the door.
Okay. What else do you want to tell us about the application?
Like what she say is like when she hire the employees, everyone must have the license from California Council Therapy Organization.
Okay. Is this her? Does she own any other massage?
No, this is her first place,
Okay, first place.
first business.
Okay. Does any of the commissioners have any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Spatos?
Yes, thank you. So this license, I'm assuming when you're when the applicants go to get this license, is it a course? Is it a class? What is it, and how do they obtain it? Like, what certifies them?
Let me.
Do they attend a class? Do they take a test?
你去考试还是啊？你去哪里考的？你去 online class 还是要去学校考的？
My understanding is under state law, there's a full list of all the requirements that someone needs to complete in order to get the state license. And one of them is education, getting certain number of hours of of firsthand work experience, and there's some other requirements there in the state law. Yes, there is education. There is a lot of requirements there before they can get the license.
Okay.
She went to the school to get her certificate.
That's a certificate there?
Yeah.
Okay. And does that certificate, what does it teach you? Does it teach you health concerns? Does it teach you how to take care of people as far as just the massage goes? Does that make sense? Like, my question is, what is it that how are we protecting the public through this? Is it?
你考试的时候，就是去上课的时候，你是学什么的？ She learned like the body massage and also like which part is cannot touch, because some body part is like it's not like massage like in the
Yeah,
massage area.
I got you. I was more trying to get at, I would go to foot massage. So I understand what type of business you're coming from. When we first started, I remember years ago, there were no gloves. And then they started wearing gloves. So I'm assuming that's part of this curriculum that's taught in this licensing, right?
他说，如果你按摩澡的话，要不要戴手套？是不是有法律规定的 ？Yeah, this is required to wear the glove.
Right. Okay. So it's probably a wide variety of things that they're giving.
Yeah.
There. Okay. All right. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hi. So this is your first business?
Yeah, it's her first business.
Okay, very good. How long have you had your certificate?
你考了几年了？ 6 years.
6 years. Okay, very good. And where did you work before?
Oh, she worked in Whittier.
In Whittier. Okay. For another massage?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Were there any problems at that massage place where you worked before that caused problems for you, or any issues?
No problem.
No problems at all. Okay. Okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just follow up with that. In terms of the, I think you stated the curtains on the rooms, the applicant has no issues with that, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Has there been any correspondence in favor or opposition?
No, staff has not received any correspondence.
Is there anyone that'd like to speak in favor or opposition of the applicant? Okay, seeing no one. Does the planning staff have a recommendation?
Yes, staff recommends Planning Commission adopt resolution number 20-3116, approving conditional use permit for Relax Spa PLN-19-000189.
Mr. Chair, if I may, there was discussion about adding a condition with regard to the curtains. So staff has drafted a condition that can be added in as a new condition 30 for the commission's review. Additionally, staff would like to add condition 31, which I will also read for the record, again, just to reiterate in inspection authorization. The new condition 30 would read, all massage areas shall be separated from common areas by a curtain only. Doors shall not be permitted for separating massage areas. New condition 31 would state any city official authorized to enforce and uphold the Downey Municipal Code shall have the right to periodically enter and inspect any establishment for the purpose of ensuring compliance with all applicable laws and regulations. So the staff's recommendation would be to approve the proposed resolution with the added conditions.
And then just to clarify, 31, who'd be allowed to make the inspections?
City officials authorized to enforce and uphold the Downey Municipal Code. So code enforcement, the Community Development Department, the Police Department, of course, fire, and to check for safety items.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions, staff?
I do, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. If I recall, didn't we also have a stipulation on the previous one that the police could hold unannounced visits?
That was the stipulation. We took verbatim what that code section was in the ordinance, and we wanted to just reiterate that into the conditional use permit itself.
I'm sorry, is that here?
That's the language that was added in as condition 31.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay. The hearing on PLN-19-00189 is closed. Any discussion?
I have a question maybe staff can answer. Does requiring curtains on a specific massage establishment, does that set any precedents for future establishments? For example, professional massage establishments that have closed doors where you go in and it's, you know, Massage Envy, for example, or other massage companies that don't have curtains?
The answer is yes. You folks have set a precedent by discussing what you've done in the past and wanting to do it now. So therefore, that exercise is setting a precedent.
So my question would be, I just think that's a good precedent, but possibly create problems in the future with whether they're national massage companies or whatever the case may be. If you're requiring these establishments or businesses to have a curtain, it's kind of cheesy. And I'm just thinking my wife wouldn't go to an establishment that's a massage parlor that has a curtain.
So we default to the code. And so I don't have the code at my fingertips. If it says curtain a door, and tonight you folks requested a curtain, then it goes curtain. In the future, if you folks request a door, it goes door. Gotcha. Now, I think what we need to be cautious about and also cognizant is the message that it sends. So why do they get a door and I get a curtain? So that's something that the Planning Commission would have to explain, because we at the staff level would have to explain that as well. An applicant could ultimately come to the meeting and state, you know, staff made me get a curtain based on, you know, their communication that you folks have always made people get curtains, so therefore that's what we're going to put in the application. And they then could, how should I say, debate that and or request, you know, a door at a meeting, and then it'd be up to you folks to decide if a door or curtain based on what's stipulated in the code.
Per item or per applicant who submits. Yeah. So in the future, you could change it back if there's another applicant and it.
Well, we wouldn't change it back. It would be a new application.
Okay.
And so if an applicant comes in the future and the code dictates that a door or a curtain is allowed, and they get a door versus a curtain, that's something that can be discussed at the Planning Commission level or not.
Yeah. And I think we understand the difference of what, you know, one between the other. Obviously, we can't, you know, establish preference from one or the other, but just trying to be fair and also make it work for potential future establishments who come in. So yeah, that was my comment.
Well, I have a lot to say about this. I think that we are setting precedents, and it's our role and duty and obligation to set precedents for the future, based on whoever's before us today, based on what we feel is right for the city as it is today, but knowing that what we leave is a trailblaze that will be looked at and judged by others. In there, there's danger. There's danger in not having uniformity. That's why we had a moratorium on the massage industry. That's why it went through the staff. That's why it came before us, and that's why we made decisions. Today, we're extending that one step further. We're saying we don't want doors. So, and we don't want doors, and that is hereforth. So I think that if a national company comes to you as your example, and they want doors, well, too bad. If Downey, us, says we don't want doors, then they have to make the decision. Do they want to come and have business in Downey that conforms to the needs of the residents in Downey or not? Or it comes back to this table. But by not having uniformity, by having a laissez-faire or per item event, that just creates danger for everybody. So my thing is think wisely, think deeply before we make a decision on anything that's going to have a precedence, especially when we're talking about uniformity or items that are pressure sensitive, such as this.
From a legal standpoint, everything defaults to your code. So if it says curtains or doors, then it can be curtains or doors.
I think that was
If you just want curtains, then that's a legislative act.
Right.
You need to do a legislative fix to only require curtains.
Right.
Otherwise, if the code, the way it is, says one or the other, then an applicant can come forward with a proposal that has doors.
Yeah.
And then we would review it in accordance with the other regulations that are on the books. And then staff would make a recommendation. Now, if you wanted to force them to do curtains, then we have to have we have to articulate a legally justifiable justification for requiring curtains. For instance, there may be curtains might achieve some kind of nexus with trying to eliminate or reduce something that is a threat to the public health, safety, or welfare, for instance. And that have to be articulated on the record to be legally defensible.
Yeah, I think you answered my question. If it says either or, it's up to the commission to decide. And in this case, I think there's a clear difference between the two when, dollar amount wise between one and the other significantly, one is significantly higher than the other. So it kind of answers our question as a commission as to which we choose whether it's, curtains or doors. So.
Well, I think if we, these codes are written to be the standard for the day, but we live in a world of evolution. And because there's evolution, we may regress or we move forward with legislation, just like the counselor said. So if we see that there's some that requires amendment, then here's where we discuss it, and then we ask the city staff to go through the proper channels to try to implement whatever changes we see fit, right? And it may not be incidental to that particular applicant, but it's for forethought. I mean, I think that's our obligation up here. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I think that's our role. So nothing here is set in such stone that that stone cannot be broken. Otherwise, why are we up here? Just read the code and let's move on.
Right.
No, correct. And originally when I had mentioned that, is I think that was a recommendation from the police on the last application. So I thought that was they had made that suggestion for maybe nexus in between some type of public safety, specifically, trafficking, things of that nature. And I think that's why we also had a moratorium. So, my personal opinion is I think a lot of these cases are fact sensitive. And in terms of also services offered, like, I think you mentioned massage envy. I don't know if it's more like physical therapy sometimes they offer. So that might, tweak things a little bit. But, I'm open to, discussing this a little further.
Oh, I actually liked your idea. I think in this particular case, curtains should be added in to require them instead of doors. I just wanted to clarify what was in there, and Yvette answered my question that it's both, and then as a commission, you determine, you know, which works for a specific business at a specific time. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think curtains, absolutely, in this particular case.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes, sir, I agree. I have no further comments.
Okay. The language as it's stated right now in 30 and 31, and 30, that is included. So do we have a motion?
Are we submitting a motion to put in the curtain?
Well, 30
verbiage,
already
or is it-
includes that language, correct?
No, the new condition 30 would be adding in the requirement that it be curtain only, not a door.
Gotcha.
31?
30.
31 would be the reiteration that inspections can be done at any time.
Planning.
And staff's already made their recommendation to approve adding 30 and 31.
Correct.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve with those two new added items.
Second?
Okay, we have a first and second. Can we take a vote?
Please place your votes. And the motion passes with 3 in favor. Commissioner Owens and Vice Chair Fermetta absent to approve PLN 19-00189 for a conditional use permit at 9422 Firestone with added conditions as stated.
Okay. Congratulations. The action of the Planning Commission will be final unless the matter is appealed to the City Council with the appropriate fee within the specified period of time set forth in the city ordinance. Thank you. Now is the time for non-agenda public comment. If anybody in the audience wants to come up and address the Planning Commission, this is your time to do so. Okay. Seeing no one, on to the consent calendar. And for the consent calendar, we have one item on calendar, one item to approve, the minutes from January 15th, but we do not have a quorum. So, moving along, do we have any new business or?
We'll continue those minutes for the next regular meeting?
Okay.
Okay.
We'll continue those minutes to the next scheduled hearing.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any new business, or does the commissioner have any business to discuss? Commissioner Dominguez?
I have no new business to discuss, but just struck me today when I was leading the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, I think we got to go back and read it. It's one nation under God. It's not one nation, comma, space, pause, under God. Right? It's one nation under God. So I was the only one leading there. I'm like, where did the audience go? So it just struck me, and I figured I'd bring it up and say, hey, it struck me. So it's one nation under God. Okay, I'm done.
I think I'm going to Google that tonight to make sure that's how it is.
I'm going to get fact checked. Okay. You want to go that route? Okay.
Maybe include that in the subsection for next hearing. Okay. I have no new business or items to discuss. Does the Director of Community Development have any additional comments?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Dominguez. Back in January, our council approved electric scooters for our community. And they heard the topic, discussed the topic, heard from the vendor that the city will be using. The vendor is Sun Scooters. We needed to change our ordinance as well to allow for the scooters to operate in some of the streets within our town. It's a pilot program. It will only be for 90 days as a test, and then staff will assess it to see how it went. And those scooters should be on our sidewalks in any day. So I just wanted to let you know about that. And then also, if you haven't seen it, we've got some new public art on Downey Avenue, on the northeast corner of Downey and 2nd, and the block down in front of the Masons building near the southwest corner of 3rd in Downey. We've got some more public art coming for that street as well, as in addition to our new theater plaza after it's constructed. And those are my comments.
Okay, we are adjourned.